Hi friends, and welcome back to Amanda Muse. Today I'm going to be doing a second installment of baby names that I love. A few months ago I filmed my first ever 10 baby names that I love, and I will link it for you right here. I mean, who doesn't love learning about baby names and what names we would choose? So I have two kids, in case you're new to my channel. Esme is 5, Jack is 3, and we are going to jump into my second installment of 10 baby names that I love. I'm gonna do 5 for girls, 5 for boys. Let's jump into it. If you happen to be new, I'm Amanda. I put out videos 3 times a week, Mondays live, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So please subscribe, click the button, stick around. Okay. Here we go. I definitely have a theme when it comes to names. I love short and simple names. So my husband's name is Dean. My son is Jack. My daughter is Esme. They all have 4 letters in their name. I love with a shorter name that chances are you won't have a nickname. That's what I said in my last video, I'm sure. However, ironically enough, I give everybody I love a nickname. So I'm not sure why I have to make that a point. Anyways. But I love that to the outside world. So in school or in the workplace, like you're gonna have just one name. First one for a girl is Ellie. I love that name. I think it is such a sweet name. I love the name Elle or Belle, but Ellie just has a bit more of a unique spin to it. You don't meet a lot of Ellies. Well, in fact, I do have Ellie. Ellie and Jared.
I'm not gonna talk to you anymore.
Ellie and Jared here on YouTube, I mean, they're amazing. And she's just such a sweetheart, and maybe that has something to do with why I like it so much, but I just think it's a beautiful name, and I do love E names. Definitely a good one, Ellie. Okay, my second baby girl name is Grace. Beautiful name. I don't hear it very often. When I think of the name Grace, I feel like I think about graceful things. Or the beautiful Grace Kelly. Like, I just feel like it's a very classic name. It emits a strength when I say it, so that's important to me. I really like strong names. The ones that kind of leave a bit of a punch. I love that name. It resonates with me. I think it's gorgeous. My third name on the list today is Mable. Now, Mable is certainly an older name. I do not meet little girls named Mable. I do have a great aunt Mable, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so my grandma's sister was Mable. But the reason I love this name is I remember watching a show back in the day. What was it called? I can't remember it now. Of course I can't remember it. Good old sitcom, you know, back in the 90s. But they had a baby girl. And if you've watched the show, you might know what I'm talking about. Something About You? Oh, I can't remember. Anyways, but they had a little girl named Mable, and it stood for like an acronym. So it was Mothers Always Bring Extra Love. And I thought that was so cute. But I always like that name. I think it's certainly a name that you're not going to shorten into anything else, but it's definitely like a grandma name. And I love grandmas, so maybe that's why. Anyway, it's adorable. I also have a soft spot for names that aren't fairly common, probably because my name is Amanda, and growing up in the 90s, everybody's name was Amanda. I think there were 2 Amandas in my class. So that was a pretty popular name back then. And I do love a certain element of uniqueness when it comes to a name. So that one definitely makes the list. Not everyone's cup of tea though, so I get that. Number 4 on my list is another beautiful E name, and it's Evelyn. Love this name. It has that whole like sitting under a beautiful weeping willow reading a book. There was sweet little Evelyn. I don't know. I just think it's beautiful. Falls into my category of like not terribly long name. I did notice that throughout all 10 of the names I chose today, none of them are 4 letters, so I'm definitely breaking out of my comfort zone. But I really like this name. I think it's quite beautiful and not a name that's easy to shorten. I wouldn't imagine you would call Evelyn Lynn, that kind of thing. Evelyn. Another winner. Number 5 on my list today is a beautiful name, and I was actually just talking about it with my daughter, but it's the name Olive. I have loved this name forever. In fact, I'm surprised I don't have a kid named Olive, put it that way, or even like Olive within the name. I don't know how that didn't happen. But I do find when you're expecting a baby, there's some names you can read that are beautiful, maybe even on my list. In fact, one of them on the boys list was a contender for Jack. But if it just doesn't like trigger something in you, you can't make it happen. That's why I truly believe that in a way, babies almost name themselves, because I had 2 names for Esme, and I tell her all the time that when she was in my tummy, I could not get Esme out of my head. Like, I don't even know where I saw that name. I know I read it in a book years ago. It kept popping up as like a pretty French name. it just wouldn't go away. So I'm pretty sure she had some sort of play in that. Anyways, but Olive is beautiful. I love the color olive. I just think it's quite beautiful. It's simple. It's not a name you hear very often. It has an O in it, which you don't often see for a female name. And I just love it. I love it. I also love that Olivia, which was always a name on my list for a long time until it got really popular. I would say in about 2011, 2012, that name I think was like #1 on the list forever for Olivia. So I do like that it's still a spin off of that name, but it has its own unique, its own uniqueness. So it's Olive. It's gorgeous. I think it's so cute. Now I just want to get like another puppy or something and name her Olive. Anyway, so those are my 5 girl names. Now I do have a rather baby obsessed daughter, and my Esme has a few names that she'd like to share with you. So these are going to be her top girl names. Here we go. What's the name you had this morning for your baby? It was Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa.
Not Vanessa, but Vanessa. What's another couple names? Esme likes very good, you like very theatrical names, right? Like very grand names.
Yes.
Justina, did you say that one or no? Drustina?
Yeah, Drustina.
Drustina. Okay. Any others that pop into your head right now?
Trying to look at stuff.
She makes up names on the go really well. Basically, Esme is open to a lot of different ideas. But Justina, do you like Alicia?
Yeah.
Alicia. Very fancy names. Esme loves fancy names. Any last 1 minute ones you want to add for girl?
Shimmer.
Shimmer. Oh, Shimmer. That's a big contender. We always have Shimmer in the name somewhere, right? For our baby girls.
Yes.
Boy names. For some reason, I've always had such a difficult time picking boy names with Jack. Probably, I'm gonna backpedal for a second. The reason I think it was so hard for me to come up with different boy names is because I loved the name Jack, and I honestly couldn't see past that name. Dean, however, had another name on the list, and it's our first name today for boys. It's Samuel. Dean loved the name Samuel. I love Sam. It's kind of cute for a boy. But while I was pregnant, like I was saying earlier, sometimes you have this connection to a name. I swear it's like there's other factors happening, hormones or whatever, and it either rings a bell and triggers you or it doesn't. And Samuel just didn't do it for me. But I do love that name. But Samuel, classic name, beautiful. I feel like it just stands the test of time. Cute little boy up to grown man. Love it. Number 2 for boys' names today, I love me a good E name, Edward. Such a good name. Okay, so oddly, I'm gonna break my own rules because often I say I don't like to shorten names, but when it comes to like the mummy calling for her son, Eddie, such a cute name. There is a classic elegance to the name, and I just love me a good E name. So let's be honest, I think it's beautiful. Number 3 on my list today is Thomas. Now this is the name of my grandfather on my mom's side, and he passed away several years ago. But it's actually been a name that's kind of been passed down through the family. So I have an uncle with the name Thomas, although everybody calls him Tum. TWM, and then I have a cousin, so his son is Thomas, but they call him Tommy. But I just love Thomas. My grandfather was Tom for short. I think it's classic. I think it's pretty old school. I think it's very elegant. And it's just Thomas. There's that beautiful, I even love how it's spelt, but it's a gorgeous name. I probably would never use this name, however, because I don't like naming children after family members. I feel like it places, how do I explain that? It places like an energy or almost this imposing a certain feeling on a child because of the character of that person. But I do love that name still. It's just a name I could never use because I can't name people after other people. There's too many beautiful names out there. Why would I do that? Even though it is respectful, I can't do it. Although my father's name is John and my son is Jack, and that used to be a very interchangeable name. And so I do like that element of it, like have a name and maybe there's a spin that you could use a name that sort of makes you think of that person. But yeah, I just can't. However, that said, I'm kind of dancing around that opinion because I know that there's so many cultures and so many people that do name children after family members. And I do think it's a beautiful thing. Personally though, I just can't do it. And as you all know, you do you, I do me, we're all friends and happy, right? That kind of rhymed. All right, number 4. Now this was up there with Jack. For a long time, we thought we were gonna name Jack James. I think it's a beautiful name. I love a good J name. It was pretty close. Name's simple. Dean really liked the name Jamie. I have a friend named Jamie, very good female friend, and I cannot envision that name for a boy. It just wouldn't work for me. And so we agreed on James instead of Jamie. But then, you know, when you're going through your list on the day that baby's born, it was like, I just can't. I love the name Jack, and he is such a Jack. So I'm pretty happy we stuck with it, but still a very beautiful name. I love it. And number 5 on my list for boys is actually very similar to number 5 for girls. It's the female version, and it's Oliver. Love that name. I just love everything. Olive, Oliver, Olivia. I think they're all very beautiful names. But rather than it be Ollie for short, which might happen naturally, I would try to keep it Oliver. I think like any mom, when you name your child, even if it's a bigger name, you want them to use that name, right? It's classic, it's strong, there's a grace about it. It's just very, I don't know, it works for me. It kind of, all of those check boxes that I like. With all of the names I've listed, except for the ones I've told you that may be a family name, I actually don't know anybody with those names in my real-time life. And I find that pretty fun and helpful in a way. Like, I actually never knew a Jack. He's my first Jack. I don't know an Esme. She's my first one. And I like that because, again, it's allowing them to be exactly who they are and maintain their independence and their individuality without me imposing maybe thoughts and feelings about someone I know who also carries that name. And that's it. So that's my top 10 baby names round 2. I hope you enjoyed them. Of all the names I listed, which one's your favorite? Let me know below. And also, if you want to leave me some of yours, leave them below because I know this is a fun community and it's actually really fun to see what names people like. And I often find there is a certain theme with the styles that we like, where I might go short and simple. Other people prefer more elegant, extravagant names. And that's it. So those are my 10 names. I hear my children crying outside. I have to go tend to them. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.